Daf Yomi Tractate Horayot, page 10, and starting to the very bottom of 9b. It's the Gemara starts on the last few words of the line Hashta Yesh Lomar Avar Mimshichuto. The Gemara questions the formulation of the Mishnah. Now it can be said, an anointed priest who moved on from his anointment. And now we are on Horayot 10a, top of the page. Towards the Achar Chata Mevi Par Chata V'Achar Kach Avar Mim Shichutot Tzircha Lebeimar Mishum Leketani Gavi Nasi Techi Avar Min Nesiuto V'Achar Kach Chata Kehediot Meite Ahachi Tane Kabe Mashiach. And in brackets it says Chata V'Achar Kach Avar Mevi Pa. And thereafter sin brings he brings a bull. Does the case of one who sinned and thereafter moved on from his anointment need to be said? It is obvious that he is liable to bring a bull. The Gemara answers, due to the fact that the Tana teaches the halacha with regard to a king, that when he moved on from his sovereignty and thereafter sinned, he brings an offering like that of a commoner. Therefore, he teaches the corresponding halacha with regard to an anointed priest. If he sinned and thereafter moved on from his priesthood, he brings a bull. Mino hanimili netanu habanan v'hikriv al chatato milamed shemevi chatato meshe'avar. With regard to the statement in the Mishnah concerning an anointed priest who sinned after he was removed from his position, the Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? The Gemara answers, it is as the sages taught. It is written with regard to the high priest, and he shall sacrifice for his sin that he sinned. Leviticus 4:3. This teaches that he brings his sin offering even after he has moved on from his priesthood. She'yochal v'halo dinhu Uma nasi shemevi b'shigigat ma'aseh ein mevi chatato meshe'avar Mashiach she'ein mevi b'shigigat ma'aseh ela al helem davar im shigigat ma'aseh b'kol shchem Talmud lomar v'yikriv al chatato melamed shemevi al chatato meshe'avar. This derivation is necessary, as one might have thought. Could this not be derived through an a fortiori inference? And if a king who brings a goat as his sin offering for the unwitting performance of an action does not bring a goat as his sin offering from the moment that he has moved on from his sovereignty, an anointed priest who does not bring a sin offering for the unwitting performance of an action alone, rather he is liable only for absence of awareness of the matter by the court together with unwitting performance of an action. Is it not all the more so that he will not bring a bull for his sin offering once he has moved on from the high priesthood? Therefore, the verse states, and he shall sacrifice for his sin that he sinned. This teaches that he brings his sin offering even after he has moved on from his priesthood. Nasi shemevi chata b'shigat maseh ein odin shemevi chatato she'avar Talmud lomar Asher Nasi Yecheta. Keshu Nasi in. Keshu Hedyo Lo. The Gemara asks, and let a king who is no longer king, too, bring a goat as a sin offering based on an a fortiori inference. And if an anointed priest who does not bring an offering for the unwitting performance of an action brings a sin offering after he has moved on from the priesthood, then with regard to a king who brings a sin offering for the unwitting performance of an action, is it not logical that he still brings his sin offering once he has moved on from his sovereignty? To counter this, the verse states, when a king sins, Leviticus 4:22, from which it is derived, if he sins when he is king, yes, he brings a sin offering. If he sins when he's a commoner, no, he does not bring his sin offering. Okay? Finish the Gemara, now we start a new Mishnah. Chatu ad shelo nitmanu יאחר כך נטמנו, הרי אלו כהדיוטות. רבי שמעון אומר, אם נודע להם עד שלא נטמנו, חייבים, ומשנטמנו פטורים. If a king or a high priest sinned before they were appointed and thereafter they were appointed, the status of these people is like that of commoners. They bring the sin offering of an individual. Rabbi Shimon says, if it became known to them before they were appointed as king or high priest that they had sinned, they are liable to bring the sin offering of an individual, but if it became known to them after they were appointed as king or high priest, they are completely exempt. Ezehu nasi ze melech shene'emar mikol mitzvot Hashem Elokav she'en al gabav ela Hashem Elokav. Who is the nasi? This is a king, as it is stated, when a nasi sins and performs any one of all the mitzvot of the Lord his God that shall not be performed unwittingly, and he is guilty. Leviticus 4:22, referring to one who has only the Lord his God over him and no other authority, that is only the king. Okay? That's the Mishnah, now the Talmud. The Gemara asks, Menah halimili, in parentheses, prat ekodmos. The Mishnah teaches that if a king or high priest sinned before they were appointed and thereafter they were appointed, the status of these people is like that of commoners. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? The Gemara answers, it is as the sages taught with regard to the verse, if the anointed priest shall sin to bring guilt, Leviticus 4:3, this serves to exclude the unwitting transgressions he performed prior to his installation as high priest. Shiachol Ve'alodinhu, as one might have thought, could this not be derived through an a fortiori inference? Umanas yishemevi b'shigat maaseh en mevi ala kodmos Mashiach she'ein mevi ela helem davar im shigat maaseh en odin she'lo yavi ala kodmos. One might have thought this might be a kal v'chomer. If a king who brings a goat as a sin offering for the unwitting performance of an action, yet he does not bring a sin offering for the unwitting transgressions he performed prior to his coronation, when with regard to an anointed priest who brings his sin offering only for the absence of awareness of the matter by the court with the unwitting performance of an action, is it not logical that he will not bring his sin offering for the prior transgressions? Lo, אם אמר בן נשיא שכן מגבוה חדסו משעבר, תאמר במשיח שמביא חדסו משעבר, הוי מביא חדסו משעבר יביא על הקודמוס, תלמוד לומר המשיח יחדה. Chata kishu Mashiach mevi kishu Horayot eino mevi. The Gemara rejects this. No. If you said this with regard to a king, that is reasonable, as he does not bring his goat for a sin offering once he has moved on from his sovereignty, and instead brings the sin offering of a commoner. Shall you also say this with regard to an anointed priest who brings a bull for his sin offering once he has moved on from his priesthood? Since he brings a bull for his sin offering even once he has moved on from his priesthood, perhaps he shall bring a bull as a sin offering for the unremitting transgressions he performed prior to his installation as a high priest. Therefore, the verse states, if the anointed priest shall sin, from which is derived, if he sins when he is serving as an anointed priest, he brings a bull as his sin offering. If he sins when he is an ordinary priest, he does not bring a bull as his sin offering. And it is also taught in this way in a Horayot with regard to a king. When a king sins, Leviticus 4:22, this serves to exclude the unwitting transgressions he performed prior to his coronation as king. שיכול להעלות דין הוא, ומה משיח שמביא חטאתו לשעבר, אינו מביא על הקודמוס, נשיא שמביא חטאתו לשעבר, אינו דין שלא יביא על הקודמוס. As one might have thought, could this not be derived through an appropriate inference if an anointed priest who brings a bull for a sin offering even once he has moved on from his priesthood does not bring his sin offering for the unwitting transgressions he performed prior to his installation? And with regard to a king who does not bring his goat for a sin offering once he has moved on from his sovereignty, is it not logical that he will not bring his sin offering for the prior transgressions? Apparently, there is no need for the derivation from the verse. Ala kodmos Talmud Lomar Asher Nasi Yechata Yechata Harehu Nasi Below Shekatav. The Gemara notes that this inference can be rejected. What is notable about an anointed priest? He is notable in that he does not bring a sin offering for the unwitting performance of an action unless it was performed on the basis of an erroneous ruling. Shall you say the same with regard to a king who brings an offering for the unwitting performance of an action alone, even without an erroneous ruling, since he brings an offering for the unwitting performance of an action alone? Shall he bring a bull as a sin offering for the unwitting transgressions he performed prior to his coronation? Therefore, the verse states when the king sins, from which is derived in a case where he sins and he is king, he brings a bull as a sin offering, and not in a case where he sins and he is still a commoner. Apropos, a king, the sages taught in contrast to other cases where the verse states, if he will sin, it states concerning a king. When a king sins, one might have thought that this is a decree, meaning that is a given that the king will sin. Therefore, the verse states, if the anointed priest shall sin, Leviticus 4:3. Just as there the meaning is in the event that the priest shall sin, so too here the meaning is in the event that the king shall sin. Okay. Not bad. We have to go to Amar Mar. We have about 2 minutes worth of reading, and then we'll finish the Amar. We'll take a break there. Amar Mar, the Gemara analyzes the Brisa. The master said one might have thought that this is the decree. The Gemara asked the decree, from where would this be derived? What would it be enter one's mind that that there would be a decree that the king must sin? Amri in סבורה היא להם שנגויים ואוהים עליהם דברי רבי יהודה. רבי שמעון אומר פרט לנגעי אונסין לאו אמר רבי יהודה בסוירה הגנמי אם גזירי hilkoch sirim. The sages say yes, there is a basis for that understanding, as we find that type of interpretation elsewhere, as is written. When you come into the land which I give you for possession, and I shall place the mark of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession. Leviticus 14:34. These are tidings informing them, in Jewish people, that leprous marks will come upon them when they enter Eretz Yisrael. This is the statement from Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon says this verse serves to teach that leprosy causes ritual impurity only when its origins are divine, to the exclusion of leprosy that results from circumstances beyond one's control, meaning those that have clear physical cause. Didn't Rabbi Yehuda say that leprosy could be tidings, meaning that there will definitely be leprosy? Here too, with regard to the king, say that it is decreed that he will sin. Therefore it is written, if the anointed priest shall sin, meaning that the sin is not a given. The Gemara asks with regard to the Braita, and according to Rabbi Shimon, to leprous marks that result from circumstances beyond one's control, not cause ritual impurity. But isn't it taught in the Braita when a person shall have in the skin of his flesh a white wool leprous mark or a scab? Leviticus 13:2. These halachot apply from this statement onward, meaning from the time that God gave this mitzvah to the Jewish people. And these halachot do not apply to leprosy that preceded the giving of a mitzvah. And could this not be derived through a logical inference? The Torah deemed one impure in the case of a zav, and the Torah deemed one impure in the case of leprous marks. Just as zav is ritually impure only from the statement onward, so too with regard to leprous marks, there is impurity only from the statement onward. There is no need for a derivation from the verse in Leviticus 13:2. Okay. Lo. Im Marta Bazav Shikini Matam Linus, Tam and the guy, which we talked about is Tam and Limmer, Adam Kiyem and his Bovelach, Rav Amar, Prat in the guy Buchos, Papa Amar, Prat in the gay Kashafim. The Braita continues, this inference can be rejected. No, if you said that with regard to a Zav, this is reasonable, as he does not become impure if his condition was caused by circumstances beyond his control. Shall you say the same with regard to leprous marks, which impart ritual impurity when caused by circumstances beyond one's control? Therefore, the verse states when a person shall have, indicating that there is impurity only from that statement onward. In any case, it is clear that leprosy causes impurity even if it was caused by circumstances beyond his control. Rava says in explanation, the phrase, and I shall place the mark of leprosy, serves to exclude leprous marks caused by evil spirits. Rav Papa says in explanation, that phrase serves to exclude leprous marks caused by sorcery. Okay? Tana Rabbana Shena Sichata Prat Lechoyle Mishum Dehavi Lechoyle Idchile Menesiute Amar Avadim Barchama Prat Nesin Neshin Strashim Marvina Vilaga Hashem Lesamelech Vayhi Vetzoyra Ad Yom Moso Vayeshev Vescha Chavshit Yotam ben Melech Habayit Midagamal Vescha Chavshit Niklal De Adashta Eved Avava. Apropos, a king, the sages taught that when the verse states when a king sins, Leviticus 4:22, this serves to exclude a king who is ill. The Gemara asks, due to the fact that he is ill, is he removed from his sovereignty? Rav Dimi Bar Chama said the reference is not to all illnesses, rather is to exclude a king who is afflicted with leprosy, as it is stated concerning King Azariah, and the Lord afflicted the king so that he was a leper until the day of his death, and dwelt in an independent house. And Yotam, so the king, was over the household judging the people of the land, 2 Kings 15:5. As Uriah was removed from his sovereignty when he was afflicted with leprosy, the Gemara comments from the fact that the verse states, "in an independent house," by inference it may be understood that until that he was a servant, meaning he was in servitude to the people. Samach Asulte Drabishua Morle Mihav Yudaja Havelan Ikuba Kule Haid Ite Sulta Amale Kochav Achad Lishivim Shana Ola Ole Et Hasefinot or Hasfanim in brackets. Vemarta Shemla Lo Yala Vite Otanu in brackets. The Gemara notes this is similar to the incident where Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yehoshua were traveling together on a ship. Rabbi Gamliel had sufficient bread for the journey. Rabbi Yehoshua also had sufficient bread, and additionally he had flour. The journey lasted longer than expected. Rabbi Gamliel's bread was finished. He relied on Rabbi Yeshua's flour for nourishment. Rabbi Gamliel said to Rabbi Yehoshua, "Did you know from the outset that we would have so substantial delay? Is that the reason that you brought flour with you?" Rabbi Yehoshua says to Rabbi Gamliel, there is one star that rises once in 7 years and misleads sailors at sea, causing their journeys to be extended. And I said, perhaps that star will rise during our journey and mislead us. Amar le, Rabbi Gamliel said back to him, Kol kach biyadcha, yatau lebesfina, Amar le, עד שאתה תמיד עליי, תמל שני תלמידים שיש לך ביבשה, רבי אלעזר חסמה ורבי יוחנן בן גדה, שיודעים לשער כמה טיפות יש בים, ואין להם פת לאכול ולא בגד ללבוש, נתן דתו להושיבם בראש. Rabbi Gamliel said to him, "So much wisdom is at your disposal, and you board a ship to earn your livelihood." Rabbi Yehoshua said to him, "Before you wonder about me, wonder about 2 students that you have on dry land, Rabbi Elazar Chisma and Rabbi Yochanan ben Goda, who are so wise that they know how to calculate how many drops of water there are in the sea, and yet they have neither bread to eat nor a garment to wear." Rabbi Gamliel made up his mind to sit them at the head of the academy. When Rabbi Gamliel ascended to dry land, he sent a messenger to them to tell them to come so that he could appoint them, and they did not come. He again sent a messenger to them, and they come. Rabbi Gamliel said to them, "Do you imagine that I am granting you authority, and since you did not want to accept the honor, you did not come when I sent for you?" Okay. After the break, continue. Continuing on to 10b, top of the page, with the words Avdut, Ani noten lachem. It was a story when Rabban Gamliel ascended to dry land. He sent a messenger to them to tell them to come so that he could appoint them, and they did not come. He again sent a messenger, and they came. Rabban Gamliel said to them, do you imagine that I am granting you authority, and since you did not want to accept the honor, you did not come when I sent for you? And now at the top of 10b, I am granting you servitude, as it is stated, and they spoke to him, saying, if you will be a servant to this people today. 1 Kings 12:7. This explains the phrase "in an independent house." Tanu Rabbanan asher nasiach etah Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai אשרי הדור שנשיא שלו, מביא קורבן על שגיגתו. אם נשיא שלו מביא קורבן, צריך אתה לומר מהו הדיוט. ואם על שגיגתו מביא קורבן, צריך אתה לומר מהו זדונו. The sages taught, the verse states concerning a king, when a king sins, Leviticus 4:22, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, happy is a generation whose king feels the need to bring an offering for his unwitting transgression. If the generation's king brings an offering, you must say, all the more so, when a commoner will do to atone, what a commoner will do to atone for his sin, meaning he will certainly bring an offering. And if the king brings an offering for his unwitting transgression, you must say, all the more so, what he will do to atone for his intentional transgression, he will certainly repent. Maskif lo v'red rabo, Horayot dichtiv, et asher chata min hakodesh yishalem, u'v'Yeravam ben Nevat dichtiv bei, asher chata v'asher hechti, hachanami de'ashrei ador hu, shane hacha de'shane kra b'dibureh. Rava, the son of Rabba, objects to this. If that is so, and the term asher is interpreted in that manner, then concerning that which is written, and he shall pay for that which he has sinned from the sacred item, Leviticus 5:16. And with regard to Jeroboam, the son of Nevat, about whom it is written, who sinned and caused others to sin, 1 Kings 14:16. So too is the interpretation that this generation is happy. So too is the interpretation that this generation is happy. The Gemara answers here, in the case of a king who brings an offering, it is different, as the verse altered its formulation in parallel verses. The term if is utilized, for example, in the verse, if the anointed priest shall sin, Leviticus 4:3. In other instances, asher is the standard formulation. Okay. Darash Nachman Ba'alav Chizdo, Mai Dichtiv, Yesh Hever Asher Nasa Al Haaretz, the Gomel, Ashrehem L'Tzadikim, Shemagia Lehem Ki Ma'aseh Hashoyim Shel Olam, Haba Ba'olam Hazeh, Oy Lahem L'Rasha'im, Shemagia Lehem Ki Ma'aseh Tzadikim Shel Olam Haba Ba'olam Hazeh. Apropos the homilech interpretation of the term asher, Rav Nachman Bar Chizda has interpreted a verse homiletically. What is the meaning of that which is written? There is a vanity that is performed upon the earth, and there are righteous men to whom it happens according to the action of the wicked, and there are wicked men to whom it happens according to the action of the righteous. Ecclesiastes 8:14. Happy are the righteous to whom it happens in this world according to the experiences of the wicked in the world to come, meaning they suffer in this world. Woe unto the wicked to whom it happens in this world according to the experiences of the righteous in the world to come, meaning they enjoy this world. Amarava tu tzadikein imacholitre al mami saniluhu. Amarave Ashrei Tzadikim Shemagia Lehem Ki Ma'aseh Rasha'im Shel Olam Hazeh Be'olam Hazeh. Oy Lahem L'Rashoim Shemagia Lehem Ki Ma'aseh Tzadikim Shel Olam Hazeh Ba'olam Hazeh. Rava said, is that to say that if the righteous enjoyed two worlds, it would be awful for them? Why must the righteous suffer in this world? Rather, Rava said as follows: happy are the righteous to whom it happens in this world, according to the experiences of the wicked in this world. Meaning, happy are the righteous who enjoy this world as well. Woe to the wicked to whom it happens in this world according to the experiences of the righteous in this world. Meaning, like the many righteous people who suffer in this world. Rav Papa, Rav Huna, Rav Yehoshua, Atokame Ladarave, Amar Lahu, Okimtun, Mesechta, Plan, Umesechta Plan, Amar Le, In, Iatritu, Urta, Amar Le, In, Tizavnan, Ketina, Diara. The Gemara relates Rav Papa and Rav Huna, son of Rav Yehoshua, came before Rava. Rava said to them, have you mastered this tractate and that tractate? They said to him, yes. Rava said to them, have you become so wealthy? They said to him, yes. Each of us bought a parcel of land from which we earn livelihoods. Rava proclaimed about them, happy are the righteous to whom it happens in this world according to the goodness resulting from the actions of the wicked in this world. Amar Rabba bar bar Chana bar Rabbi Yochanan, Mai dichtiv, Ki yishar im nach Hashem tzadikim yelchu bam, Upoishim yikashlu bam, Mashal, Lishnei bnei Adam, Shetzalu pitchehem, Echad achlu, Lishum mitzvah, Echad achlu, Lishum achila gasa, זה שאכלו שום מצווה צדיקים ילכו בם. זה שאכלו שום אכילה גסה ופושעים ייכשלו בם. Rabbi Bar Chana said that Yochanan said, what is the meaning of that which is written? For the ways of the Lord are right, and the righteous will walk in them, and the transgressors will stumble in them. Hosea 14:10. It is comparable to an incident involving two people who roasted their paschal offerings. One ate it for the sake of the mitzvah, and the other one ate it with gusto for the sake of excessive eating. With regard to the person who ate it for the sake of the mitzvah, it is written, the righteous will walk in them. With regard to the person who ate it for the sake of excessive eating, it is written, and transgressors will stumble in them. Okay. Rish Lakish, okay, you know what? Take a little break and come back after that. Continuing on now with Amar Rish Lakish. Amar Rish Lakish, Rosh Kris Nihid Lo Ava Mitzvah Min Muvcham Pesach Mi Lo Kachil Ela Mashal Shnei Bnei Adam Ze Ishto Ve'achoto Imo B'Bayit Ze Ishto Ve'achoto Imo B'Bayit Echad Nizdamna Lo Ishto Ve'echad Nizdamna Lo Achoto Ze Shenizdamna Lo Ishto Tzadikim Yelchu Bam זה שנזדמנה לו אחותו ופושעים ייכשלו בם. Reish Lakish said to Rabba Bar Chana, do you call the one who ate the paschal offering for the sake of excessive eating wicked? Although he did not perform the mitzvah in the ideal manner, didn't he eat the paschal offering? Since he fulfilled the mitzvah, how can he be characterized as a transgressor? Rather, it is analogous to an incident involving two people. This one has his wife and his sister with him in a dark house, and that one has his wife and his sister with him in a dark house. One of them, his wife, happened to come to him, and he engaged in intercourse with her, and the other one, his sister, happened to come to him, and he engaged in intercourse with her. With regard to that one, to whom his wife happened to come to him, it is written, the righteous will walk with them. With regard to that one, to whom his sister happened to come, he has written, and the transgressors will stumble in them. Okay? Midami Anan Kamrin and Chadash Yach Shnei Drachim Adava Shaloi Shnei Benoisim שני בנותיו, הן שנתכוונו לשם מצווה, צדיק מרובם, הוא שנתכוון לשם עבירה, פושעים מכאן שלובם. The Gemara asks, are these matters comparable? In the verse, we are speaking of one path upon which both the righteous and the wicked walk. And here, in the incident mentioned by Rish Lakish, there are two paths, as the two people are not performing the same action. Rather, it is analogous to the incident involving Lot and his two daughters. See Genesis 19:30-38. With regard to the daughters, who when engaging in intercourse with their father intended their action for the sake of a mitzvah, as they believed that the world had been destroyed and that only they remained alive. It is written, the righteous will walk in them. With regard to Lot, who intended his actions for the sake of transgression, it is written, and transgressors will stumble in them. I thought the verse says he didn't know what was going on. So how can you say that he intended for transgression? Okay, it's a question. All right. Bedilma, who nami l'shem mitzvah. Oh, asking us another thing. Who ikaben in brackets. Who mikaben is in parentheses. Ikaben is in brackets. Amar Rav Yochanan, kol pasuk zeh l'shem aver nemar. The Gemara challenges. Perhaps Lot too intended his action for the sake of a mitzvah. Rabbi Yochanan says that this entire verse, and Lot cast his eyes and beheld the entire plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Genesis 13:10 is stated in the context of transgression. Vayisa Lot vatisa eshet adunav et einav ויאמר שמשון וגומר אותנו קח לי כי היא ישרה בעיניי וירא אותה שכם בן חמור את כל כיכר הירדן כי בעד האישה זונה עד כיכר לחם כי כולה משקה אלכה אחרי מהווי נותני לחמי וממי צמרי ופשתי שמני ושיקויי. And he explains, and Lot cast his eyes as an allusion to the verse, his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, lie with me. Genesis 39, verse 7. His eyes is an allusion to the verse, and Samson said, get her for me, as she is pleasing to my eyes. Judges 14, verse 3. And beheld is an allusion to the verse, and Shem, the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, beheld her, and he took her and lay with her. Genesis 34, verse 2. The entire plain, the Kikar of the Jordan, is an allusion to the verse, for on account of a prostitute, a man is brought to a loaf of bread. Kikar lechem, right? Proverbs 6:26. That it is well watered, mashka everywhere, is an allusion to the verse, I will follow my lovers, givers of my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, my oil and my drink. Hosea 2, verse 7. Manes anis. That's exactly what I was asking before. Manes anis, manes anis. Man is a niece. Man is a nephew. I'm just kidding. Man is a niece. Man is a nephew. Man is a niece. Tana Mishum Rav Yossi bar Rabbi Choni. למה נקוד על וו שבקומה של בחירה? לא אומר לך שבשכבה לא ידע, אבל בקומה ידע. מה יהווה לבלבד? מה יהווה דהווה? נפקא מינה דלפניה אחרינה לא יבאי למשתה. The Gemara asks, why is Lot accused of wrongdoing? Wasn't he the victim of circumstances beyond his control, as he was drunk and asleep? It is taught in the name of Rabbi Yossi bar Rebechoni, why is it dotted over the letter Vav, that is in the word Bekuma, written with regard to Lot's elder daughter in the verse, and he knew not when she lay down, nor when she arose, Bekuma, Genesis 19:33. It is to say to you that when she laid down, he did not know, but when she arose, he knew. Therefore, his action was not completely beyond his control. The Gemara asks, and what was he to do? What was. The Gemara answers, he should have derived it from it, that on the following night he should not drink. And since he drank again, this indicates that he did so with intent to engage in intercourse with his other daughter. Drash Rabbah, Mai Dichtiv, Mai Dichtiv Ach Nifsha Mikiryat Oz, Umidyanim Kivriach Hamon, Ach Nifsha Mikiryat Oz, Zelot שפרש מאברהם, ומדיינים כבריח המון, שהטיל מדיינים בין ישראל להמון, שנאמר לא יבוא עמוני ומואבי בקהל השם. Apropos to load, Rabbah taught, what is the meaning of that which is written, a brother betrayed a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. Proverbs 18:19. A brother betrayed a strong city. That is Lot, who parted from Abraham. And their contentions are like the bars of a castle. It is stated because he, Lot, introduced contention between Israel and Ammon. As it is stated, an Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Deuteronomy 23 verse 4. Darash Rabbe v'item Yitzchak, Mai dichtiv, V'ta'ava yivakesh nifrad, U'v'chol, and then in brackets says b'chol, Tushia yitgala, V'ta'ava yivakesh nifrad, Zelot, Shenifrad me'Avraham, U'v'chol, and in brackets b'chol, Tushia yitgala, Shenitgala kilono, בבתי כנסיות ובבתי מדרשות. דתנן עמוני ומואבי אסורים איסור עולם. Rava taught, and some say it was Rabbi Yitzchak who taught, what is the meaning of that which is written? He that separates himself seeks his own desire, and snarls against all sound wisdom. Proverbs 18 verse 1. He that separates himself seeks his own desire. That is Lot, who separated from Abraham to pursue his lust, and snarls against all sound wisdom. His shame was revealed in synagogues and study halls, where the halacha concerning his offspring is taught. As we learned in the Mishnah, Yevamot 76a, an Ammonite and a Moabite, descendants of Lot, are forbidden with a permanent prohibition. ואמרו לה, תמה שזינסה, וזמרי שזינה. תמר זינסה, יצאו ממנה מלכים ונביאים. זמרי זינסה, נפלו כמה רבבות מישראל. אבל רב נחמן יצחק, גדולה ורע לשמה ממצווה שלא לשמה. שנאמר, תבורך מן השם יעל אשת חבר הקני, מן השם אוהל תבורך, מעיינינו נשים באוהל שרה רבקה ולאה. And Ulla says, Tamar engaged in licentiousness with Yehuda, see Genesis chapter 38, and Zimri engaged in licentiousness with Cosby, see Numbers 25, 6-9. Tamar engaged in licentiousness, and kings and prophets emerged from her. Zimri engaged in licentiousness, and tens of thousands from the Jewish people fell. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, a transgression performed for the sake of heaven is greater than a mitzvah performed not for its own sake. As it is stated, blessed above women shall be Yael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, above women in the tent shall she be blessed. Judges 5:24. Who are these women in the tent? They are Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, and Yael is more blessed than they are. Apparently, a mitzvah performed not for its own sake is a negative phenomenon. I don't see what the mitzvah was for its own sake. A mitzvah, not the Shema. I don't see what's. I don't see how they derive that. You're saying that the matriarchs didn't do mitzvahs l'shma? I don't get this. Okay? Hopefully we'll understand one day. Aini, is that so? Amar Rabbi Yehuda barav le'olam yasuk adam b'toyre u'v'mitzvahs afilu shelo lishma shmitoch shelo lishma ba lishma ema k'mitzvah shelo lishma. The Gemara says, is that so? Doesn't Rabbi Yehuda say that Rav says a person should always engage in Torah study and performance of mitzvot, even if he does not do so for its own sake, as through the performance of mitzvot, not for its own sake, one gains understanding and comes to perform them for its own sake. Apparently, even when performed not for its own sake, a mitzvah is still a positive phenomenon. The Gemara amends the statement, say that the status of transgression performed for the sake of heaven is like that of a mitzvah performed not for its own sake. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Sheva be'ilot ba'alot Rasha be'otosha shenemar ben raglea kara nafal shachav v'gomer Yochame Mitanya me'aveo. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai afilu tovatam shel shaim Ra'ah hi etzel tzadikim. Apropos of Yael, Rabbi Yochanan says that wicked man, Sisera, performed 7 acts of intercourse with Yael at that time. As it is stated, between her legs he crouched, he fell, he led. Between her legs he crouched, he fell. Where he crouched, there he fell dead. Judges 5:27. Each of the 7 verbs is a euphemism for intercourse. The Gemara asks, but didn't she experience pleasure from the transgression of engaging in intercourse with Sisera? Why does the verse praise her? Rabbi Yochanan says, in the name of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, Shimon ben Yochai, even the good provided by the wicked is bad for the righteous. So Yael did not experience any pleasure from her intercourse with Sisera. Amar Rabbi Yehuda barav le'olam yasak adam b'toyre u'v'mitzvahs afilu shelo lishma shemitoch shelo lishma ba lishma sheb'schar 42 korbanos שהקריב בלק הראשה זוכה יוצא ממנו רוס דאמר רבי יוסי בר חנינו רוס בת בנו של עגלון בן בנו של בלק מלך מואב. Rabbi Yehuda says that Rav says a person should always engage in Torah study and the performance of mitzvot, even if he does so not for their own sake, as through the performance of the mitzvot, not for their own sake, one gains understanding and comes to perform them for its own sake. Proof of this can be adduced from the incident involving Balak, as in reward for the 42 offerings that Balak the wicked sacrificed to God, despite the fact that he did this in order to curse the Jewish people. See Numbers chapter 23. He merited Ruth, and Ruth emerged from him. As Rabbi Yossi Hanina says, Ruth was the daughter of the son of Eglon, the son of Balak, king of Moab. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yohanan, Minayin she'en HaKadosh Baruch Hu mekapeach afilu schar sichai noe mehachme de'ilu bechira dikrate Moab. אמר לאחמנה למשה, אל תצר את מואב, ואל תתגר בה מלחמה. Apropos, Lot and his daughters, Rabbi Chia bar Abba says that Rabbi Chia bar Yochanan says, Rabbi Chia bar Abba says, Rabbi Yochanan says, from where is it derived that the Holy One, blessed be He, does not withhold even the reward for euphemistic speech? It is derived from here, as the elder daughter called her son Moab, an allusion to the fact the child is from her own father, Me'av. And the merciful one said to Moses, be not at enmity with Moab, neither contend with them in battle. Deuteronomy 2:9. From this it may be inferred it is in battle. We'll continue, God willing.